Good morning. My name's Irene and I live in the Focolari community here in Belfast. I'm also part of the Embrace Committee, which is a group of churches working together in order to serve the needs of refugees, asylum seekers and migrants here. Thank you, Father Martin, for this opportunity to reflect with you and all those who are listening on this experience of lockdown. During this past weekend, the VE Day commemorations and the Europe Day have brought to my mind two people who were catapulted from one end of Europe, from Lithuania, to the opposite end of Europe in Scotland. That is my parents. As a result of the Russian occupation, they had to escape from their little villages, farming villages, through Europe, and eventually ended up in a little place called Belsill in Scotland, where there was a strong Lithuanian migrant community. They met there, and we grew up in the midst of that community. Both had dramatic escapes. They had been put into an enforced lockdown, and that's made me reflect on our experience here. My father never saw or spoke to his father or his sister again. My mother only went back to Lithuania after 50 years of exile, when she was able to meet some distant relatives and visit the graves of those she had known. She said that they had a wonderful reunion, that they spoke a lot, they cried a lot, and they ate a lot in those days. It makes me realise that how fortunate we are here. I, with the press of a few buttons, can speak to my sister in Scotland and her family, or my brother in Australia with his wife and family also. How lucky I am there to communicate behind the Iron Curtain. Even the letters that my father wrote, we never knew whether they arrived or not because of the censorship. I grew up with a deep sense of thankfulness for the gift of life. Each day is a bonus, my dad often said. He instilled within us this sense of gratefulness for the food on our table, the roof over our heads, for the country that had welcomed us, for a wonderful national health system, for the educational system, and especially for freedom, the freedom to say what we believe without fear in a democracy. In these days, with more time of peace, of silence, for daily walks, I feel a new surge of thankfulness for so much. For the family I grew up in, for the community, the Focolari community that I live with, for my health, for so many friends, for the nature that surrounds me, for the blue skies, and for all the goodwill and generosity around me which is being unleashed. This morning, someone from our WhatsApp knitting group locally, who's confined to home, shared how touched she had been by random acts of kindness, by the neighbours who go and do her shopping for her, by someone who had put a bunch of magazines through the door, someone else bringing her an orchid. Aren't we seeing more and more of this outpouring of generosity in our neighbourhoods? Recently, I was able to visit a refugee family and to take along some support, and she shared her desperate need for a washing machine. I came back and shared with the others. We're not in a position to be able to help very much financially because we put our income together, and surplus is redistributed globally. But together we prayed, as we do every day, for those in need and who are in difficult situations. So you can imagine the next day on my daily exercise walk, the neighbour across the road I happened to meet and was able to share with him this need. Within a week, he had put up a Just Giving page, and we'd been able to buy and install a washing machine along with food vouchers in order to help that family. And that has also led to a networking with another family across the road from her where there are needs, and we can have the opportunity for networking. So all of this brings back to me how the goodwill and that something is happening, something is changing. It was said of the early Christians that no one was in need and that others were attracted by the love that they had for one another. My hope really is that we don't go back to the old normal, that living in this new normal, I would dream that there might be a new super normal where all that matters is this building up of a community of mutual love, where we're free to love the other and allow ourselves to be loved. I wish you all a wonderful day, to enjoy the blue skies, hopefully, and to take advantage of all the opportunities we have to be thankful and to be generous. Have a good day.